I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 8 years now. We got married young, both of us ambitious, trying to build something solid. At first, it was perfect, fun, passionate, full of plans for the future. We had our fights, sure, but I always thought we could work through anything. That was until recently. It all started last month, around my birthday. I put a lot of effort into that party, invited friends, family, organized everything myself. Lisa was supposed to help, but she kind of just showed up late, acting like she didn't care. The whole night, I caught her texting someone a lot. She'd hide her phone if I looked over, but I could see her sneaking glances at it, her face tightening when she thought I wasn't paying attention. Still, I thought maybe she was just planning something sweet for me, or catching up with her sister. I wanted to believe she was just busy with something innocent. But then, something strange happened. The day after my birthday, I noticed her phone was missing from the house. That's weird. I thought because she always kept it on her. I didn't think much of it until I saw her delete a message from her texts, something about meeting up tonight with a name I didn't recognize. That should have been a red flag, but honestly, I was just confused. Maybe she was talking to a friend. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, especially not on my birthday. Over the next few weeks, her behavior changed even more. She became more distant, colder. She'd go out with her friends more often, always with an excuse: work, drinks, a girls' night, you name it. But I'd catch her in little lies, saying she was home when she was actually at some bar with guys, texting late into the night, hiding her phone again. The weirdest thing was, she started acting bitchy about everything I did, snapping at me for no reason, making snide comments about my friends or my work. It was like she was angry at me, but I didn't know why. Then last week, I finally found concrete proof. I was cleaning up the living room and I saw her phone lying on the couch. I couldn't help myself. I picked it up and unlocked it with her passcode, which I knew because she'd always shared it with me. I don't usually snoop, but at that point I felt I had to know what was going on. That's when I saw the messages. It was her, Lisa, texting someone named Jake, a guy I knew from work, and the things they were saying, it was explicit. They were planning to meet up that night. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I trusted, was cheating on me with someone I work with. My stomach dropped. My mind was racing. I felt betrayed, humiliated, like I'd been punched in the gut. I kept thinking about the times she'd called me paranoid, accused me of being insecure. All the late nights, the strange texts, the secret phone calls, they all made sense now. And the worst part, she'd been lying to my face the entire time, telling me she loved me, that I was overthinking, that I was just jealous. But I was. I knew she was lying, and I knew she'd been screwing around behind my back. After I found out, everything just hit me like a freight train. I remember standing there, staring at her phone, feeling this numbness spread through my body. The anger was boiling over, but at the same time I felt this crushing sadness. I had trusted her so much. We built a life, a family, and she was out there betraying everything we had. My mind kept flashing back to all those times she'd acted distant, the little lies, the passive-aggressive comments, things I'd brushed off because I loved her. Now I saw how deep the betrayal really went. I didn't want to just yell and break down, though. I knew I had to confront her. I waited until she got home from work that evening, feeling like I was walking through some kind of nightmare. When she came in, I was just standing there, her phone still in my hand. She looked surprised, then annoyed. "What's wrong, Mike? Why are you just standing there?" she asked, her tone bitchy, like I was bothering her. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Tell me about Jake. I know what's been going on. I saw your texts. You've been lying to me, cheating on me behind my back. How long has this been going on?" Her face twisted into this fake, bitchy smile. "Oh, please, you're overreacting, Mike. It's not a big deal. You're just being paranoid. I was talking to a friend, that's all." I felt my blood boil. "A friend? That's bullshit, Lisa. I saw the messages. You're planning to meet him tonight, aren't you?" She scoffed, crossing her arms. "You're ridiculous. You're always accusing me of stupid stuff. Maybe if you paid more attention, you'd see I'm not cheating on you. You're just insecure." She looked at me like I was the crazy one, like I was the problem, not her. That's when I saw her eyes flick to her phone, like she was trying to hide something. I grabbed it out of her hand and held it up, still feeling this mix of anger and disbelief. "How long has this been going on?" I demanded. She rolled her eyes and snapped. "Since you've been acting like a jealous psycho, you're imagining things. Jake's just a friend, okay? We talk about work, about life. You're making this up because you're insecure and jealous." I couldn't believe her. Her words were so cold, so dismissive. I'd never seen her like this before, so bitchy, so manipulative, but deep down I knew she was lying. She was hiding something. That night I sat her down and told her I knew everything. Her perfect facade cracked for a moment, but she quickly dismissed me, threw her head back, and started yelling that I was overreacting, that I was crazy for accuse her without proof. I felt like I was losing my mind. The woman I loved, the woman I'd wanted to spend my life with, was out there screwing around, lying to my face, and then had the nerve to call me crazy when I finally found out. That was the moment I realized I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just let her get away with it. I had to figure out what my next move was, but honestly I was just furious, heartbroken, and confused all at once. I kept thinking about how I'd helped plan that birthday party, how I'd been so proud of how everything turned out, only to find out she'd been lying to me the whole time. I felt like the biggest fool alive. That night, after that explosive confrontation, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying everything like some sick movie. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it earlier, how I missed all the signs. The text messages, the secretive behavior, her bitchy attitude. She was hiding something, and I had finally found out what it was. It cut deep. I'd never been so betrayed, so humiliated in my life. In the days that followed, I started digging deeper. I needed to know just how far she'd gone. I pulled her phone again, more carefully this time, and started scrolling through her messages. I found more proof, screenshots of conversations, flirtatious texts, plans to meet up that she never told me about. I also discovered Jake was not just some innocent coworker. They'd been sneaking around for at least a couple of months. It explained her changing attitude, her constant lying, her coldness. She'd been cheating on me with my supposed best friend, Jake. That realization made my stomach turn. I felt sick, but also furious. I couldn't believe someone I trusted so much would turn around and do this to me. I felt like a damn fool for not seeing it sooner, for ignoring all the little signs. Now I had proof, and I knew I couldn't keep quiet. I had to confront Jake and Lisa again, but this time I had a different kind of plan. I wasn't just going to yell or storm out like I'd been tempted to do. I needed to be smart. I needed to make her pay. I started thinking about how I could execute my revenge. I wasn't interested in just walking away quietly. I wanted her to feel the pain she'd caused me, to understand what betrayal really meant. First, I gathered everything I could. Those messages, the times she'd lied, the moments she'd been sneaking around. I also decided to dig into Jake's background, find out what kind of guy he really was. I knew I couldn't just confront her head-on and expect her to admit anything. No, I needed a plan, a way to make her regret everything, to show her that she'd messed with the wrong person. I spent the next couple of days watching her, waiting for her to slip up again. I wanted her to see that I was serious about knowing everything. I even started talking to some of her friends, pretending I was just trying to understand her better. I needed them to tell me if they knew anything, if she'd ever hinted at cheating, or if Jake was just some fling she was hiding. It was a messy process, but I was determined to get the truth, no matter what. And then I got my chance. It happened one evening when I caught her with her phone again, texting Jake. Her face was smug, like she already knew she was getting away with it. That's when I decided I played my hand enough. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I sat her down, pulled her into the living room, and looked her dead in the eyes. "You think you're clever, huh?" I said quietly, but with enough bite to make her shiver. "You've been screwing around behind my back, lying to my face and insulting me to my own face. I know everything, all your messages, your plans, everything." I let that hang in the air for a moment, watching her reaction. Her eyes flickered, but she quickly tried to brush it off. That's when I realized she thought she was untouchable. She thought I'd never find out, never do anything. Well, I was done playing nice. I wasn't just going to walk away. I needed to make her feel the weight of what she'd done. I told her I was going to make her regret crossing me, that she'd be sorry she ever betrayed me. I didn't threaten her outright, but I made it clear I had enough evidence to ruin her reputation if I wanted to. I told her I'd give her one chance to come clean and admit everything, or else I'd take control of the situation myself. Her bitchy attitude didn't waver, but I saw her start to crack under the pressure. I saw the fear in her eyes, and that gave me a little satisfaction. That's where I'm at now, still processing everything, trying to figure out what to do next. But one thing, for sure, I'm not the same guy I was before this all started. I learned a lot about trust, betrayal, and what it really means to be hurt by someone you love. I don't know if I'll ever fully get over this, but I do know I won't let her get away without consequences. That's my story so far. After that confrontation, I felt like I was caught in some kind of emotional storm. Part of me wanted to explode, to scream, to call her every name in the book. But another part, the logical part, knew I had to stay calm, outsmart her if I was going to make her regret her choices. I decided to give her that one chance to come clean, to tell the truth, or I'd make sure everyone knew what she'd been hiding. That night, she sat on the couch, her arms crossed, looking defiant. I looked at her, feeling a strange mixture of anger and sadness. I could see the bitchy smirk she was trying to hide, like she still believed she was untouchable. I told her I had all the proof I needed and that she could save herself some embarrassment by just telling the truth. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said, "You're overreacting, Mike. You think I'd cheat on you? You're crazy. Jake's just a friend," like I said. "You're always paranoid, jealous, insecure. That's your problem, not mine." I stared at her, furious. "You're lying right now, Lisa. I saw the messages. I know about the plans to meet up tonight. Don't insult my intelligence, just admit what you did." She laughed bitterly, her voice dripping with contempt. "Fine, if you want the truth. Yes, I've been talking to Jake. Yeah, we've been hanging out, but it's none of your business. We're not doing anything. It's just sex talk, maybe some flirting, that's all. You're making a big deal out of nothing." I felt my blood pressure rise. "That's not nothing, Lisa. That's cheating. That's betrayal. You lied, you cheated, and now you're trying to brush it off like it's no big deal. Do you have any idea how much you've hurt me, how much I trusted you?" She rolled her eyes again as if I was just a stupid fool. "Look, I don't owe you explanations. You're jealous, insecure, and you're ruining everything because you're too stupid to see that I still love you. I'm not leaving, Mike. I'm not cheating on you. You're just imagining things, like always." That was when I lost my cool. I knew I couldn't keep letting her lie to my face anymore. I pulled out all the evidence I had, printed out some of the messages I'd saved, and slid them across the table. "You're so innocent, explain these, because they say otherwise." Her face paled for a second, but she quickly recovered, scoffing like I was just a fool. "You're crazy," she snapped. "You're just jealous. You're trying to manipulate me. I don't have to explain myself to you. You're not my boss. I do what I want." That was the moment I realized I was dealing with someone completely manipulative, someone who thought she could get away with anything. I looked at her with disgust and said, "I've had enough. I won't be part of this anymore. I deserve better than your lies and your cheating. I want you to leave. I want you out of my house." She sneered at me but didn't argue. Instead, she stood up, grabbed her purse, and headed for the door. As she was leaving, she turned back and said, "You'll regret this, Mike. You're just a jealous idiot. I'll be fine without you." And just like that, she was gone. I was left standing there, heart pounding, feeling emptier than I ever had before. I knew then that my life was about to change forever. That betrayal had shattered something inside me, something I didn't think could be broken. I felt a strange mix of relief, sadness, and, dare I say it, hope. Because I knew I couldn't keep living like this, not with someone who lied, cheated, and dismissed me so easily. But I also knew I had to figure out what to do next. I was hurt, yes, but I also felt a flicker of determination. I wasn't going to let her get away with destroying what we had, not without paying a price. That's where I'm at now, trying to pick up the pieces, trying to decide whether I fight to save what's left or cut loose and start over. Either way, I knew this wasn't the end of the story. Not even close. In the days that followed her leaving, I felt like I was living in some kind of fog. Part of me wanted to reach out, to call her, to beg her to come back and explain herself. But I knew better. I knew she was manipulative and selfish enough to spin things her way, and I didn't trust her anymore. I also knew I needed to get my head straight, figure out what I really wanted, whether that was to fight for her, to forgive her, or to finally cut ties for good. I spent the first couple of nights just lying in bed, replaying everything that had happened. The betrayal cut so deep I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I felt angry, heartbroken, and mostly just lost. I kept thinking about all the moments I'd trusted her, all the times I'd defended her to friends and family. Now I saw how wrong I'd been. She'd been lying and sneaking around behind my back for months, maybe longer. That realization made me feel like I'd been living in a fantasy, one where I was the fool. But I also started planning. I couldn't just let her walk away and pretend nothing had happened. I needed to do something to make her feel the damage she'd caused. I started gathering evidence. Not just the messages, but also things like her bank statements, her social media activity, anything that proved she'd been lying, so I could use it if I needed to protect myself or even take legal action. I also reached out to a few friends I trusted, people who knew Lisa well, and asked if they had seen anything strange. If they knew about Jake. Surprisingly, some of them did. They told me she'd been acting distant for months, secretive, and that Jake was more than just a coworker. Meanwhile, I kept my distance. No texting her, no calling, just trying to keep a clear head. I started thinking about what I really wanted. Did I want to fight for her? Or was it time to accept that the woman I married had betrayed everything we stood for? Honestly, part of me still loved her, but another part was so angry I wanted to see her suffer just a little. I wanted her to feel what it was like to be lied to and betrayed. Then one evening she called me. I almost didn't pick up, but I did. Her voice was cold but pretending to be sympathetic. "Mike," she said, "I know I screwed up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I love you, you know that, right? I want us to work this out." I listened to her, trying to keep calm. I didn't want her to think I was broken or fragile. I told her I needed time, that I wasn't ready to talk about things yet. I told her I wanted her to leave Jake and prove she was serious about fixing us. She started crying then, fake tears, I could tell. "Please, Mike, I'll do anything, just give me a chance. I swear I'll make it right." I told her I didn't believe her and that she needed to leave my house for good. I told her I'd think about what she said, but I wasn't making any promises. I needed space, time, clarity. That's when she hung up, still crying, still trying to manipulate me. That night I sat alone in my house, feeling a strange mixture of relief and anger. The betrayal still stung, but I knew I was starting to come to terms with it. I'd been naive, but I wasn't stupid. I knew I had to protect myself and my future. I wasn't sure if I was going to try to fix this or walk away for good, but one thing was clear. I wasn't going to let her get away with everything she'd done without consequences. I learned a lot about trust, about how fragile it is, and about the importance of paying attention to the small signs. I also realized how much I had taken her for granted, how much I wanted to believe in the woman I married, even when things weren't perfect. But now I was facing reality, and it wasn't pretty. The question was, what was I going to do with it? In the end, I decided to do what felt right for me. I realized I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay, not after finding out the truth about Lisa and Jake. I didn't want to live in a lie, and I certainly didn't want someone in my life who thought cheating and lying were acceptable. I made the decision to file for divorce. It wasn't an easy choice. There was a lot of pain, a lot of anger, and honestly, a lot of sadness. I loved her, or at least I thought I did, but love isn't enough when someone fundamentally betrays your trust and disrespects everything you stand for. The process was tough. Lisa didn't make it any easier. She tried to manipulate me one last time, calling and texting, begging for another chance, crying crocodile tears, saying she'd change. But I saw through her. I knew her words were just more lies, more attempts to keep control or guilt me into staying. I didn't want that. I wanted honesty, respect, and someone who would stand by me, not someone who'd cheat and lie and then act like I was the crazy one for catching her. The divorce went through, and honestly, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But it was also the best decision I could have made. I realized I deserved better, the kind of love that's honest, supportive, and built on trust. I've started going to therapy, trying to understand myself better and healing from all the pain. I don't hate Lisa, I'm just disappointed. disappointed that I trusted her so much, that I let her get so close, only to have everything blow up in my face. Looking back, I've learned a lot from this experience. I learned that betrayal can come from the people closest to you, and sometimes love isn't enough to fix things. I've learned to pay attention to the warning signs, to trust my instincts, and to value myself more. I've also learned that revenge isn't the answer, that letting go and moving on is the true way to heal. So, too, anyone out there going through something similar, I'll say this. Trust your gut, don't ignore the red flags, and don't be afraid to walk away if someone shows you they don't respect or value you. It hurts now, but in the long run, you'll be better off. Because true happiness and trust are worth fighting for, just not with someone who doesn't deserve it. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply living your life without them, knowing you're better and stronger without the betrayal.